Sometimes we let fear get in the way. Sometimes past failures get in our way from us reaching our destiny. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Our deepest fears is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fears are that we are powerful beyond measure. Elsa was scared. She was afraid of her gift. She was afraid to expose her gift. She knew that she had something powerful inside, but she didn't want to unlock that because she was afraid of harming her sister. She was afraid of her sister finding out what happened. But it was removed from her memory. We have to, when we know that God has given us something special on the inside, we cannot hide it. We have to, like the song said, let it go. We have to release it into the atmosphere. We have to know who we are and whose we are in God. And once we know who we are and whose we are in God, God will, He will bless us in a mighty way. There's some things we want to do in this life. And we've kept, sometimes family get in the way, sometimes our peers get in the way, sometimes our own self get in the way of doing what God wants us to do. But once you realize the magnitude of your gift, you cannot just hold that gift inside. You have to do something with it. You have to trust God that He's going to make pathways straight for you. You have to trust God and know that He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above you can ever ask or think. Amen. And when you get to this point, God is going to bless you in abundance. And further along, as after I wrote this article, God gave me another part to this poem, Frozen Part 2. And I was just like, okay, God, what you want me to do with this one? But I'm going to read this also. In the article Frozen, the Revelation, Princess Elsa from Arendelle was born with magical powers. She has this beautiful gift, but she doesn't want her past or harming her sister, Princess Anna, to be revealed. Princess Elsa later discovers that her gift was powerful, and she decides to let her gifts be released into the atmosphere. This did not happen overnight. This was a process. Beforehand, Elsa was in a dark place. She was in isolation for years. Elsa thought that if she kept her distance from her sister Anna and had her secret from having magical powers, she would be safe. Princess Elsa was a prisoner in her room all alone. Elsa's sister tried to reach out to her numerous times, but couldn't. It was Elsa's choice. She could have told Elsa that she didn't want to face her and tell her what happened when they were kids, but after the death of their parents, it just seemed right not to. Elsa had already made up her mind that she wasn't going to give light to what was already broken in her eyes. Sometimes in life, we get stuck in our situations. We try to move freely in our purpose, but we allow doubt and past failures to surface. What do you do when you know there's greatness inside of you, but you're in a frozen state of mind? What do you do? What do you do when you know God has called you to the nations and He has deposited to your spirit to bless people and encourage others, but everything around you is at standstill? Everything is just frozen. What do you do? Anything that is frozen like ice is a solid. A solid is one of the three states of matter. Solids are particles locked together in a space close together with free space to move. Anna was locked in her room in isolation for years. Her sister tried to reach out to her, but she didn't want to listen to her sister. She loved her sister, but the fear of her harming her sister again, she let that cloud her mind, and she stayed in her room, and everything around her was frozen. What about those friends, dead weight, that we hang around? If we hang around those friends that don't mean us any good, I mean, we can never move forward in purpose when We allow ourselves to be around negative people that don't believe in your vision and the vision that God's given you. We need to be with people Christ-like. We need to be with people that push us to our purpose.
Amen.
We need to be with those kind of people. Elsa was just like ice in a state of being frozen. She wanted to come out of isolation, but she was numb to her surroundings. She had been in that room for so long, she didn't even realize the gift that she had. She didn't even know the magnitude of her gift. She just sat there in her room. Elsa's purpose, dreams, and vision were all hidden in a small space. That's how I felt, in a way. Because when I moved here, and I was in Albany, and I was doing so much in Albany, and then I moved here, and it was like, you know, I'm always used to being with my twin sister, and it was like I was by myself, and she was by herself, and she started doing her thing, and I started doing my thing. But it was something missing. I know that God had placed so many gifts, not just one gift. He's placed so many gifts inside of me, and it's like the places I was at, the school I was at, I was not prospering. The church I was at, I was not prospering, you know. And I was like in a standstill, and I wanted to, you know, go out and, you know, I know people now, but I didn't really know nobody here in Macon, and, you know, I was trying to feel my way through. And then my sister, she would call from time to time and say, I'm doing this and doing that. And, you know, in a way, I kind of wanted to go back to Albany because, you know, I was familiar with Albany. You know, I was comfortable in Albany. But that's not, I didn't know at the time, that's not what God wanted me to be. And Elsa's purpose, her dreams, and her visions were hidden in the small space. She wanted to break loose, but she was held captive in her own gift zone. She was held captive in the gift that God had given her. We are held captive sometimes in our gifts because we don't know how to use our gift. We don't know what to do with our gift. That's why we have to have eyes to see and ears to hear what God is trying to say to us. When God has given you the tools to be effective in the earth, you cannot continue in your frozen state. You have to fall out. You have to activate your gift. You have to do what God has placed you to do in this earth. You can't worry about what mama gonna say, and friends, Pookie, all of them. You can't worry about what they're gonna say about you. Because God has given you, He has given each and every one of us a gift, a purpose. If you don't know that gift or purpose, you need to tap into God. You need to pray, you need to fast, and ask God what does He have you to do in this earth. He has something for all of us. Amen. When you do this, your reality becomes transparent, meaning you can see clear what God has you to do. And your purpose is one step in fulfilling your promise. When I started to tap into God and realize that He had a much greater plan for me, I just was so elated. I cried out to God. I said, thank you, God. Because I felt in my heart, I felt like God had given up on me. And I know there's purpose in me, and I know there's destiny in me. He has so many things He wants me to do. And I just began to surrender everything. You know, God has given me, I began to give my time, my talents, and my treasures back to the kingdom of God. When I joined Bethel, I became active and started doing things in the community and started being in a leadership role. Since joining Bethel CME Church, I have joined the ministry, the adult ministry, young adult ministry, been recognized for promoting media ministry at the church, and even sang a song that God gave me, The Perfect Gift. We organized a food can drive and had my first I'm Not Ashamed, It Worked for My Good women's conference last year. I also have taught Christian Leadership School at Payne College and had my first, I've had 3 published works in Purpose Journey magazine, and I have a published devotional in a book also. I was also representing the young adults at the joint annual conference at CME Church in Columbus, Georgia, and was named the young adult director for Macon-Barnesville district of the 6th district of Georgia. So once I tapped into the things that God wanted me to do, he opened so many doors for me. Because I said to God, God, giving you glory is my goal. I decrease that you may increase in me. My purpose defined is a beacon of light that shines brightly in a tunnel. The torch is Christ that allows me to be a burning flame so people won't get lost in the space they're in, but come out into their new identity in God, reaching their highest potential. Yes. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, Romans 1:16. And we know that all things work together for the good that love God, to them who are called according to his promise, Romans 8:28. Sometimes you have to separate from your purpose in order to get to your purpose. What I mean by that, I was with my sister for 28 years. And even though we did so much together in those 28 years, we still, even though we're twins, we still have our own identity. So we had to separate in order for God to start using us effectively. It was hard. I wanted to go back to Albany, and I'll call her, and I'm still, I've been here 8 years, and I still call her all the time. She said, girl, you think you my mama? Everybody, she said, you call me all the time, but that's my twin, I love my twin. And even though we had purpose when we were together, we still had to separate to get to the purpose God had for us.
Amen.
I have connected to my purpose by positioning myself to be obedient to the voice of God, allowing him to give me eyes to see and ears to hear to what he is saying to me. In 2014, I started I'm Not Ashamed. It's ministry on Facebook, and that's what I'm Not Ashamed Women's Conference birthed from, that page. I thought to myself, it could be something good. And I started to get inboxes from people saying, thank you for the encouragement, this is a blessing, and it just made me encourage even more. My vision for I'm Not Ashamed is to empower, inspire, and tell of Jesus' love for his children. We all have a past. I want people to come to the I'm Not Ashamed page and know that Jesus died for humanity. Because he died, we should never be ashamed of our circumstances that arise. Instead, we should thank God for Jesus giving us another chance at life. This page caters to young adults and also adults. I'm Not Ashamed Conference, like I said, was birthed through this page. I also started Brite Pathways, and my girls were the inspiration for that. It's a ministry to birth the life. It's a ministry to give birth in the life of youth, teens, and young adults. And I want to have, with this ministry, I want to have self-awareness classes and workshops to inspire our young adults, let them know there's so much more than what they see. They see, what they see in this, why I say being here and Macon, things I've seen thus far is kind of troubling. And I want them to know that they can be anything they want to be in life. They could be a doctor, they could be a lawyer, your mom can get off welfare, your mom don't have to be on welfare. Not to say that's a bad thing, because actually, I used to get, services, but, that woman told me, it's about, you want to do better, and it's not about that, but just want to empower our youth, let them know that, you need to pull your pants up. You're not going to get a job with your pants hanging down. You got to dress appropriately. You got to say the right things. You can't curse out your teacher. You can't do those kind of things. So I want to empower our youth to let them know that there's greatness inside of them. And surround themselves with people like-minded. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You were born with purpose on purpose. You were not meant to blend in with everyone. You were born to stand out. Jesus walked the earth 33 years. He had a purpose to fulfill. He did not let haters intimidate him from what he was born to do, to save us from our sins. The prophecy of Jesus' arrival was foretold by the prophet Zechariah. This was one of the most influential prophets. He was a Levite and was born in Babylon. Zechariah did not conform to what was normal to hear. He was on another level. The message told by the prophet Zechariah was a message that Jesus, who God was sent to rescue his people from their shortcomings and reign over the land. Jesus left the right hand of the throne of God to make change on earth. He was born of the Virgin Mary, walking in his purpose for 33 years, dying on the cross for humanity. He healed the sick and raised the dead and turned water into wine, and he opened blinded eyes. Jesus did what no one else could do. He suspended the rules and performed miracles. There was a lot of jealousy around Jesus, but that did not stop him from carrying out the work of the Lord. What do? Why do people hate on the gifts of others that God has given them? Jesus knew he had a purpose to fulfill, and he was willing to use his body as a living sacrifice so we could be free. The people began to mock Jesus and say that he wasn't the Messiah, but Jesus knew the anguish that he was about to bear. At one point, Jesus said, "Lord, wilt thou remove this cup from me?" And then he said, "Lord, not my will, but your will be done." He was pierced in his side for man's transgressions. The weight of the world was on his shoulders, yet still he died for all mankind. Everyone that persecuted Jesus began to feel somber after realizing that Jesus was the Messiah, the true and living God. Jesus, he came from the right hand of the throne of God. He was born of the Virgin Mary. He walked this earth for 33 years. He already knew what was going to take place. Amen. But he decided to go, he decided to fulfill his purpose. He already knew what his purpose was. He decided to make himself a living sacrifice so we could be free. In closing, I just want to talk about this lady in the Bible, Reverend Katrina Curry, that she just stepped out. She did a Bible study one Tuesday, and she was talking about the woman in the issue of blood, with the issue of blood. And I just listened to her, and I didn't take any notes. And when I got home, God allowed me to write this. This woman had a condition that went on for 12 years. She was an outcast from everyone. She had no friends, no companion, no social life. She was a woman scorned. The doctors couldn't help her. She lived life alone and wanted desperately for her condition to go away. When she heard of this man, Jesus, who was a healer, was coming to the town, she began to listen. At that point, she had nothing to lose. Her back was up against the wall. She hid herself from the crowd because of her condition and basically risked her life for her breakthrough. The woman was weak, but she was determined to make her way to Jesus. As Jesus passes through the town, she was trying to get to Jesus, but she did not want to expose herself. She reached out to touch the garment of Jesus, and she was immediately healed, made whole. What are you willing to do to get Jesus' attention? This woman was called out her name, and she was basically on her last leg, but she was willing to give Jesus a try. Regardless of her condition, in spite of her situation, she never gave up. She stood and recognized that she needed help, and she was willing to be a vessel. She was a willing vessel to search out for her healing. When all else fails, reach out to Jesus.
He will restore you.